narrate my videos. Hopefully you can hear me over the wind and the birds and everything. It's a nice day, Saturday afternoon. Not going to be a train to this video, so it's going to be a discussion. Try to keep it as brief as possible. Just hit the main points. We'll call it the good, the bad, the good, and maybe a reprieve. So let's go ahead and talk about the good first. Hi everybody. Maybe you're wondering what this is all about. So let me introduce you to the beginning of, probably going to call it the Ohio Traction Company. It's going to be a little N-scale project switching layout I'm going to build using the Kato pocket line steeple cab that my Japanese trainer gave me. This is actually a floating shelf that I bought online, $25. It's sort of constructed like a hollow core door. The shelf itself is 43 1/4 inches by 10 1/4 inches. As you can see, it fits perfectly on this sideboard that my wife has here. So let me show you the track plan and tell you some of the thoughts about what I'm going to do. So I searched the internet. I just Google searched small track plans or small switching track plans, and this is something I found. I don't know who made it, so I can't give credit to the author, but it's HO, 7 foot long, and looks like it's about 16 inches wide. So with my shelf, I'll be about 2 inches shorter than it should be, but about 1.5 inches wider. So it's essentially the same size. Got the main line coming back here. Got Grandma's Cookies, which is a bakery. Calling back warehouse. Now, I'm not going to keep these industries properly. I'm definitely not going to have a truck loading dock here. I don't need to have 4 industries on something that's 45 inches long, or however long it is, 43 inches. As a matter of fact, I'm probably going to have 2. I'm going to insert a picture right here, an old grainy picture. So that picture was my great-great-grandfather's flour mill in London, Ohio. He immigrated from Germany in the 1850s, 1860s, not sure when. Settled in Pickaway County, Ohio, which was the next county north of Chillicothe. Met and married a woman there, had a little grist mill there. We figured he must have learned the trade in Germany. A guy in Pickaway County had some money, partnered with him, and they built the Placer Blue mill in London, Ohio, and it was very successful for a while. He died in 1906. He had 4 sons. One of them was my great-grandfather, and we'll talk about later. But anyhow, the building is long gone, but I've always wanted to make a model of it. I didn't really have an excuse to. So I think what I'm going to do is going to build the mill here, but it's not going to receive service. It's like an old abandoned building. Now, he did have a railroad spur. I think they received coal. You can get Sanborn maps. They had like some coal, and they also had a livestock pen, for whatever reason that was for. But it's going to be an abandoned siding. Now, I intend this to be an electric railroad. Again, I said I'm going to have catenary, but it's going to take place around 1980, so I can use my current rolling stock. So this will be probably a team track, probably transload, and this will be an industry of some type. And probably this spur here will be where they maybe park some idler flat cars, because that way the catenary doesn't have to go all the way down here. They can use spacer cars to switch it and then put the spacer cars back here. Just some old crappy flat cars. It's just a little project I'm going to build. just something for fun. But I will get started on it here pretty soon. Right now, Benjamin still has my locomotive, so I can get the locomotive back before I start on it. If the locomotive doesn't run well, which is my fear, only has 4-wheel pickup, then I might get a little Bachmann 44 tonner or some little switcher to do this industry. But again, it's just going to be freelance, fun little project, and I will keep you guys posted on the build the whole time I'm there. Okay, that was the good. I'm excited to start working on it. It's now for the bad, which is really bad. Earlier this week, the Pixel Solutions, which owns the paper mill in Chillicothe, Ohio, announced they were closing the mill very soon, like 2 months soon. Caught everyone by surprise. Now the mill is no longer what it once was. In 1960, it employed 4,000 people. Now it employs a little over 800. Still, those are 800 good-paying jobs. In the city of 20,000, the size of Chillicothe, that's a huge deal. It's not only the mill. I mean, it's like all the sawmills around that bring pulpwood. That 800 doesn't count the security guards and the cleaning crew and stuff that don't directly work, for Pixel. So it's a huge economic impact to the town, and it's been very emotional. It's been a very emotional reaction. My dad didn't work for the paper company, but indirectly it's why I am here. So this is my great-grandfather. He's right here in the front, if I can't see him. Cat's Cleaners was a local cleaner that sponsored, they provided the baseball uniforms for the teams, but he actually worked for me paper company. Seeing that picture, he's pretty old. All these guys, this baseball team, he must have like a over 50 league or something. But he learned how to operate steam engines because at the London Flour Mill. When the London Flour Mill and my grandfather, retired, basically as transportation improved, all these companies quit having like local breweries and local mills and stuff, So eventually the business went down and my grandfather, had to close it. Well, he had a trade. He knew how to operate steam engines. So he started traveling around installing steam engines, like an independent contractor for companies. Well, he did some work at Meat Paper, probably during World War I, and they liked him and they offered him a job. I think his wife was tired of him moving around, so they uprooted the family, moved from London, Ohio to Chillicothe, Ohio. Well, my grandfather was in the Navy. He graduated from London High School in 1911. He went in the Navy twice. He went in for 4 years, got out, and when World War I started, he re-enlisted for another 4 years. So he got out of the Navy. He moved to Chillicothe to be with his family. And he met my grandmother, and the rest is history. And he got a job at the paper mill, and he was an electrician in the Navy, and that's him there. You see how they had their old lab coats and stuff, has his name engraved on it. And so he started his career. Now, it used to be more like a family type thing, these companies. So this is actually the May 1925 Mead Corporation. I don't know if they called it the Reporter then or not. It was a nice little magazine they sent to all the employees. The reason why I've got this yellow paper in here, they used to have these humorous articles, and it said, "Why don't the following things happen?" And they sort of poked fun at people, and one of them is, "Fred Placer take a few knocks out of that motor." So evidently my grandfather's motor was, I was trouble with his car at that time, but 4 lines down was Bill Schilder bat 400. Bill Schilder is my wife's grandfather. So our families are intertwined in the paper company. Whether you work there or not, it's just the identity of Chillicothe. We're the paper city. In 1949, my grandfather worked his way up. Here he is. He's the assistant superintendent of electrical power. They had an article about the power makers. 1959. Now you can see the magazine. They're still putting this out. It's still owned by Meade Paper. When he retired, article about him right there. Eventually, at that point, he was the electric power superintendent in 1951 until he retired. So my dad didn't work there, but my grandfather walked to work. He lived half a block from the mill. We lived 2 blocks away from them. When the other paper company, Chilpaco, which Meade bought in 1955 and merged in, they had their own smokestack, and they had, at 5 o'clock every day, they blew the whistle. And all across town you could hear it. That was like the quitting time for a day shift, I guess. And that's when I knew it was time to go home for supper. Because my dad, who worked at wherever, got off at 5 o'clock, and he was going to come home pretty soon. So whether you liked it or not, the paper company was intertwined in your life. So it's like I said, it's the identity of Chillicothe. So it's been a huge shock to everyone that this happened. Chillicothe had 25,000 people in 1960, 4,000 people, worked at the mill. Now 20,000 people. Chillicothe has shrunk. 800 people. Those are 800 good-paying jobs. So it's just a huge shock. So that was the bad, and it's been a very emotional week for everyone in Chillicothe and all Chillicothe natives. So I'm going to talk about that again here in a minute. So let me switch gears to another good thing that happened this week. So let me go get a magazine here to show you. So In Scale magazine, this is, the July-August 2024 issue. A couple of years ago, they put out a call for magazine articles. And I decided I'd write one about my layout. I wrote 2. Wrote one about Douglas Avenue, then I wrote one about Oak Hill and merging the 2 together. And I sent them in. Didn't have a whole lot of good pictures because I tried to use my cell phone to take pictures and they weren't that good. But Walt Houston really liked the article, said they were going to publish it. But time went by, never got published. And in the meantime, I keep changing the layout. So I finally, Walt Houston retired and Pamela Clapp is the publisher now. I sent her an email, I said, look, my layout has changed a lot. I'm not sure if you can publish the article now because it has changed so much. It's sort of outdated. And she said, well, I really like the article. We want to publish it. If you can just get us some better pictures, because your pictures really aren't magazine quality. I said, okay, I'll see what I can do. So I got my stepson, a professional photographer in Cincinnati, to come down, and he took some really great pictures. I sent them to her, and she was really happy about it. I got an email this week that saying they're going to publish article number 1 in the July-August issue this year, 2025. So that was a shock. That was a good thing. I assume they'll publish the next one in the next issue, and I may write a 3rd article about the incorporation of the Chillicothe Yard. So that was good news on a personal note. Looking forward to that. So I'm happy to done that. It's something I never thought would happen to me. I never thought I could have a layout good enough to be in a magazine. So I'm happy about that. Alright, so I'm recording this last part on Sunday morning, Easter. Hope everyone had a happy Easter. I'm going to post this on Monday. So finally the last part is about the Reprieve. Like I said, everyone in Chillicothe was very upset, angry, shocked about the mill closing. It's actually, there's been a paper mill on Paint Street since 1847, something like that. Meade took over in 1890. and then they, like I said, they ran it for over 100 years before they merged with Westvaco. It's just been really, really tough. So politicians got involved, and a lot of times, had sort of mixed feelings about the politicians getting involved in business. But in this case, they got the company to agree to at least keep the mill open until the end of the year, which is a good thing. It's a good thing for Chillicothe. Personally, I don't think they'll find a buyer for it. I said it's been going downhill. The whole paper industry has been going downhill for a long time. But it was a good thing that for the people of Chillicothe, that we can keep the mill open. So there's faint hope that it will continue to run. But writing's sort of on the wall, I believe. But it gives some time to maybe get some things in order. Anyhow. So that I've been looking for another railroad to model. My layout's pretty much done. And so this has made me re-examine what I may do. So I may continue to model Chillicothe, but model the paper company. And just have one big industry where Douglas Avenue is now with, there's 5, 6 different customers counting the team track. I'll have one customer, the me paper company. So actually I'll probably have more switching, probably more car spots than there are now. But it'll just be one big company. And so Douglas Avenue is going to go, Oak Hill's going to go. I will keep the Chillicothe yard in this plan. Probably keep standard elevator where it is. A couple of side notes that makes it interesting for me is, and I'll insert a Google Earth picture here of the mill and talk about it for a second. Very briefly, because I'll do a whole video about this coming up. This is the old CH&D, which became part of B&O, became part of the CSX. Runs through here. This is still how CSX gets to it now. They come down here and go out and come back. Right, there's a diamond right here. This is Norfolk Southern coming through town. There's a little interchange yard right here. This is just for paper company traffic. Here's the wood yard, and here's the mill itself. My grandparents lived right here. That's where my dad grew up, and I grew up right here in this area, so right next to the N&W main line. And Green Lawn Cemetery over here, that's where a lot of my family is buried. Both sets of grandparents, my parents, set of great-grandparents, 2 sets of great-grandparents. Reference, this is Douglas Avenue, ITT Grinnell, Miller Distribution, this is wherever. So the N&W has a Norfolk Southern now. They've got a little yard east of the mill, next to the wood yard. Of course, they used to get pulpwood by rail. I haven't done that in a while. But, so I can model the N&W. I can incorporate that N&W operations into it also. Which, I like. So I can have the chassis and the N&W both sort of have a major role. DT&I locomotives that I got, said DT&I ran through trains at Chillicothe on trackage rights during this period, so I can still simulate some DT&I action occasionally, just like I can do now through Oak Hill. Anyhow, that's what I'm thinking. I haven't finalized the plans yet. I'm going to start working on the little railroad first, while I do some planning, pictures, research as much as I can. One thing that's different about it is I can't just walk around and take pictures like I did for Douglas Avenue. Meade has security, fenced off. I get arrested for trespassing if I walk around. So I can use Google Earth, try to get a lot of the trackage, see what type of cars are spotted on the trackage, take pictures from public places that I can get to. But it'll be a real challenge to do that. So it'll be like some of these guys that model steel mills. You can't model a steel mill in 3 feet. You have to have a significant chunk of real estate to do it. And Douglas Avenue and probably part of Oak Hill should be able to do it pretty well. All right, that's enough talking. I hope everybody has a great week. I will see you on Saturday with more operations. Stay safe.